The African savanna stretches endlessly beneath a vast cloud-streaked sky, its golden expanse rolling out in every direction, a living canvas shaped by millennia of natural forces. As dawn breaks, the first shafts of sunlight pierce the horizon, setting the grasslands ablaze with a warm glow. Dewdrops shimmer on each blade, nourishing the roots below, while acacia trees stand as silent sentinels, their silhouettes etched against the awakening sky. This is the Serengeti of Tanzania, a landscape forged by ancient volcanic eruptions and the ceaseless industry of termites. Their towering mounds, sculpted from earth and saliva, rise like fortresses, providing shelter for countless creatures and aerating the soil for new growth. Life here is governed by a perpetual struggle, predators and prey locked in a delicate balance. Wildebeest thunder across the plains, their hooves drumming a primal rhythm, while lions and cheetahs lurk in the tall grass, eyes fixed on the vulnerable and the unwary. The sun dominates the sky, its relentless heat drawing moisture from the earth and conjuring shimmering mirages that dance on the horizon. Each day, the slow arc of the sun marks the passage of time, dictating the rhythm of life and survival. During the unforgiving dry season, the ground splits into a mosaic of cracked mud and dust. Herds of zebra and wildebeest traverse these arid expanses, their hooves carving trails toward shrinking waterholes where competition for every drop intensifies. When the rains finally sweep across the plains, they bring dramatic transformation. Parched earth softens, grass erupts in a surge of green, and dormant seeds awaken, carpeting the landscape with wildflowers and nourishing a new generation of grazers. Every animal here is a product of relentless challenge. Gazelles leap nimbly over thorny scrub, their bodies engineered for speed and agility, while herds press forward, senses sharpened by the ever-present threat of ambush. The Serengeti teems with life at every scale. Dung beetles labor tirelessly, rolling their precious cargo across the plains, while ants form intricate highways beneath the grass. Each species, from the smallest insect to the largest mammal, plays a vital role in the ecosystem's intricate web. The air is alive with sound, a dawn chorus of birds, the persistent hum of cicadas, the guttural calls of frogs after rain, and the distant resonant roar of a lion marking its territory as dusk settles over the plains. Survival is measured in heartbeats. Lions and cheetahs unleash explosive bursts of speed to bring down prey, while hyenas and jackals patrol the night, their keen senses tuned to the faintest sign of opportunity or weakness. The land itself is ever-changing. Volcanic rocks, remnants of ancient eruptions, jut from the soil, while sudden storms sweep across the plains, unleashing torrents of rain and lightning that reshape the terrain in moments. Rivers wind through the grasslands, their banks alive with activity. Crocodiles lie in wait just beneath the surface, while fish dart among reeds and birds gather at the water's edge, all dependent on the seasonal ebb and flow. Towering above the plains, African elephants move with deliberate grace. Matriarchs lead their families with unwavering resolve, guiding calves through the grasslands and using their trunks with astonishing dexterity to feed, communicate, and nurture. These gentle giants are architects of the savannah. They dig for water in dry riverbeds, uproot trees to create clearings, and their deep rumbles carry messages across vast distances, binding the herd together in a network of trust and memory. The ingenuity of elephants benefits countless others. Pools they create become lifelines for warthogs, antelope, and birds, while their massive footprints collect rainwater, offering refuge to frogs and insects during the dry months. Even elephant dung is a cornerstone of life. It fertilizes the soil, disperses seeds across the plains, and sustains a hidden world of beetles, fungi, and microbes, each contributing to the renewal of the ecosystem. African buffalo gather in formidable herds, their curved horns gleaming in the sunlight. Muscles ripple beneath thick hides as they stand alert, while oxpeckers comb their backs for parasites, forging a partnership that benefits both bird and beast. The plains pulse with movement. Wildebeest surge forward in vast migrations. Zebras graze in tight-knit groups, and impalas leap through the grass with effortless grace. Each species is finely attuned to the subtle signals of the land and the shifting moods of the weather. Giraffes, with their towering necks and dexterous tongues, browse on the highest acacia leaves, deftly avoiding thorns. Their height grants them access to food beyond the reach of others, and a panoramic view of the savannah's expanse. Ever watchful, giraffes scan the horizon for danger. Their elevated vantage point makes them the sentinels of the plains, alerting herds to the approach of predators with a sudden, silent stillness. In the rivers and wallows, hippos cluster together, their immense bodies submerged to escape the sun's intensity. Their skin glistens with moisture, and their deep bellows echo across the water, a reminder of their dominance in these aquatic realms. As night falls, hippos emerge silently from the water, their massive forms moving through the darkness to graze. Each step leaves deep impressions in the soft earth, marking their nocturnal journeys beneath a canopy of stars. The rhinoceros, armored in thick, rugged hide and crowned with a formidable horn, moves with deliberate power across the plains. Its solitary presence is a living relic of a wilder ancient world, embodying the resilience and fragility that define life on the Serengeti. Each year, the Serengeti is transformed by the monumental spectacle of the Great Migration. As seasonal rains sweep across the plains, they awaken dormant grasses and replenish the waterways, turning the Mara River into both a vital artery and a formidable gauntlet for all who approach its banks. Over 1.5 million wildebeest, accompanied by hundreds of thousands of zebras and gazelles, surge forward in a living tide, their destinies bound to the river's shifting temperament and the promise of sustenance it holds. Driven by ancient instinct and the scent of distant rain, these herds traverse nearly 2,000 miles, their migration orchestrated by the rhythm of water and the looming threat of drought. The ground trembles beneath their relentless advance, the thunder of hooves and the chorus of calls heralding their arrival at the river, a boundary that divides survival from oblivion. The Mara River is not simply a barrier, it is a crucible that forges resilience, demanding every ounce of instinct and endurance from those who attempt its crossing. Fatigue gnaws at the herds, yet the river's promise of water is irresistible, compelling even the weakest to press on, despite the ever-present threat of collapse from hunger and exhaustion. The riverbanks are treacherous, slick with mud and riddled with concealed hazards, each step a calculated risk between progress and disaster. During the dry season, the Mara River contracts to a mere ribbon, compelling herds to dig for water in the cracked earth or risk dehydration, while the wet season transforms it into a torrent, its currents swift and unforgiving. The open plains offer little sanctuary, and the river's edge becomes a theatre of anticipation, where predators and scavengers gather, drawn by the certainty of opportunity. Every approach to the water is fraught with peril. Lions and hyenas prowl the shadows, while crocodiles remain hidden beneath the surface, their presence betrayed only by subtle ripples and trails in the mud. The most vulnerable, calves, the elderly, and the infirm, are often left behind, their struggle for survival unfolding in the margins, where the river's indifference is absolute. Only the strongest and most resourceful endure, their survival a testament to the relentless demands imposed by the river and the migration itself. As dusk settles, the Mara River glows with the fading light, bearing silent witness to the countless dramas that have unfolded along its banks throughout the day. The Mara River is a dynamic force, its flow sculpted by rainfall and its depths concealing ancient predators. Nile crocodiles, some exceeding 15 feet, patrol these waters, their patience measured in days as they await the vulnerable. With acute sensitivity to vibration and movement, These reptiles launch ambushes with explosive power, their jaws engineered to crush bone and immobilize prey in an instant. The crossing itself is a tempest of panic and instinct, as thousands surge forward, compelled by the need to reach the far bank before exhaustion or predators claim them. At the water's edge, fear and urgency collide. Hesitation may offer safety, but it also risks being trampled or abandoned in the chaos. When the first animal leaps, the herd follows in a torrent, the river erupting with bodies and spray as the crossing begins in earnest, each animal gambling its life against the current and the jaws below. Some are seized by crocodiles, their struggles brief and violent. Others are swept away by the river's force, their bodies nourishing the ecosystem as both predator and scavenger benefit from the river's toll. Even after the crossing, danger persists. On the far bank, lions, hyenas, and opportunistic scavengers converge, drawn by the confusion and the scent of vulnerability that lingers in the air. Zebras employ sophisticated defensive tactics, clustering tightly and forming protective circles around their young, their stripes merging into a living shield that confounds would-be attackers. When threatened, the herd's synchronized movement creates a visual illusion, making it nearly impossible for predators to single out an individual and buying precious seconds for escape. Thompson's gazelles, the smallest migrants, rely on agility and speed, weaving through the chaos at astonishing velocities, their movements a blur to all but the most focused predators. Their signature stotting, high, stiff-legged leaps, signals vigor and alertness, often discouraging pursuit by demonstrating their fitness and readiness to evade. In this unforgiving arena, the Mara River is both architect and arbiter of fate, a force that nourishes the living, claims the fallen, and shapes the destiny of every creature that dares to cross its path. Here, survival is not granted but earned, and the river's legacy is etched in every current, every crossing, and every life it touches. The Great Migration is one of nature's most dramatic spectacles, as millions of wildebeest, zebras, and gazelles traverse the vast Serengeti ecosystem in pursuit of seasonal rains and fresh grazing. This journey is a test of endurance and adaptability, with every animal facing a gauntlet of predators, treacherous river crossings, and the harsh realities of drought and heat. Predators in the Serengeti have honed their hunting techniques over millennia, developing acute senses, stealth, and teamwork. Prey species, in turn, have evolved heightened awareness, complex social behaviors, and physical adaptations to detect and evade danger. Lions as apex predators command the landscape through a combination of raw strength, territorial control, and sophisticated group tactics. Their presence shapes the behavior and movement of nearly every other animal in the ecosystem. The social structure of a lion pride is a finely tuned system. Adult females form the core, cooperating in hunting and cub rearing, while males defend the pride's territory from rivals and other threats. During hunts, lionesses employ silent communication, tail flicks, ear movements, and subtle glances to coordinate their approach, often fanning out to encircle prey and cut off escape routes. Their hunting strategy relies on patience and precision. Lionesses use the cover of tall grass and the element of surprise, freezing instantly when prey becomes alert, then advancing in perfect unison when the moment is right. Flanking maneuvers are executed with remarkable coordination. Some lionesses drive herds toward hidden ambushes, while others block escape routes, ensuring the pride's collective effort results in a successful kill. After a hunt, the pride's social hierarchy determines feeding order. Dominant males eat first, followed by females and cubs, while vigilant sentinels guard against scavengers and rival predators. The Serengeti is a mosaic of survival strategies. Cheetahs, leopards, hyenas, and wild dogs each exploit different niches, while prey animals form tight groups, using collective vigilance to detect threats early. Cheetahs specialize in high-speed chases, targeting individuals separated from the herd, Their flexible spines, long limbs, and semi-retractable claws provide unmatched acceleration and maneuverability. A cheetah's sprint is a calculated risk. The energy expended is immense, and failure means not only lost calories, but increased vulnerability to injury and competition from other predators. Stealth is essential for cheetahs. Their spotted coats break up their outline in the dappled light of the savannah, allowing them to approach within striking distance before launching a chase. Post-chase, cheetahs are physically depleted and must rest immediately. This period of vulnerability often attracts opportunistic predators, forcing cheetahs to abandon their kills if challenged. To minimize losses, cheetahs consume their prey rapidly, always scanning for approaching hyenas, lions, or vultures that may overwhelm them and steal their hard-earned meal. Leopards, in contrast, are solitary and elusive. Their survival depends on stealth, adaptability, and the ability to exploit a wide range of habitats, from open grasslands to dense woodlands. Nocturnal by nature, leopards use the cover of darkness to hunt. Their exceptional night vision and silent movement allow them to approach prey undetected, often striking with lethal precision. After a successful hunt, leopards use their powerful jaws and muscular bodies to drag prey into trees. This arboreal strategy protects their food from ground-based scavengers and competitors. Feeding high above the ground, leopards can return to their kills over several days, reducing the risk of confrontation and maximizing the nutritional value of each hunt. Their rosette-patterned coats provide exceptional camouflage, allowing leopards to remain virtually invisible in the shifting light and dense foliage of their environment. Spotted hyenas and African wild dogs are among the Serengeti's most adaptable and efficient predators. Each species has developed unique strategies to exploit opportunities and overcome challenges in their environment. Hyenas are highly social, operating in clans that can number up to 80 individuals. Their hunting tactics involve endurance running, coordinated attacks, and the ability to confront even lions at a kill site. With bone-crushing jaws, hyenas access nutrients unavailable to other predators. Their stamina allows them to pursue prey over long distances, and their complex vocalizations facilitate communication and coordination within the clan. African wild dogs are renowned for their cooperative hunting and social cohesion. Packs are tightly knit, with each member playing a specific role during hunts and in caring for young or injured individuals. Their hunting strategy involves relentless pursuit and strategic division of labor. Packs split into subgroups to flank and confuse prey, maintaining high speeds until the target is exhausted and overwhelmed. Communication is vital for wild dogs. High-pitched calls, body postures, and tail signals keep the pack coordinated. After a hunt, food is shared through regurgitation, ensuring the survival of pups and less able members. Prey animals have evolved equally sophisticated defenses. Zebras form protective lines using powerful kicks to deter attackers, while gazelles perform high leaps, pronking, to display their fitness and discourage pursuit. Buffalo herds mount coordinated defenses, with adults forming a protective barrier around calves and charging en masse at predators. Ostriches, the fastest birds on land, rely on keen eyesight and rapid sprints to evade danger. Giraffes defend themselves with formidable kicks capable of breaking a predator's jaw, while their height and coloration help them blend into acacia woodlands. Warthogs escape by dashing into burrows, tails raised as visual signals to their young. River crossings are among the most dangerous moments of the migration. Herds rely on mass movement and confusion to reduce individual risk, but crocodiles exploit these events, targeting the weak and unwary. Scavengers such as vultures, marabou storks, and jackals play a crucial ecological role, rapidly consuming remains and preventing the spread of disease, ensuring the savannah remains healthy and balanced. In the Serengeti, survival is a dynamic interplay of adaptation, vigilance, and innovation. Every species, from the smallest gazelle to the mightiest lion, must constantly refine its strategies to thrive in an environment where only the most resourceful endure. This intricate web of life is a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of Africa's wildlife. The Serengeti, a vast and intricate ecosystem, is a living testament to the interconnectedness of life. Every species, from the smallest insect to the apex predator, is bound by the invisible threads of survival, each playing a distinct role in the grand design of the savannah. Yet this ancient balance is now under siege from a multitude of threats, each one chipping away at the resilience that has defined this landscape for millennia. Climate change is the most insidious of these dangers, altering the very fabric of the Serengeti's existence. Rains that once arrived with clockwork precision now falter, leaving the land parched and the rivers dry. The soil cracks beneath the relentless sun, and the ancient baobabs stand as silent witnesses to the shifting climate. Migratory herds, once guided by the promise of water and fresh grass, now face uncertainty at every turn. Wildebeest and zebra press onward across barren riverbeds, their hooves stirring up clouds of dust as they search for the last remnants of moisture. Elephant matriarchs lead their families to forgotten streambeds, digging deep into the earth in desperate hope of finding water. Predators, too, are caught in this tightening vice. Lions seek refuge in the scant shade, their bodies heaving with the effort of enduring the midday heat. Hyenas and vultures converge on the few remaining carcasses. Their competition, fierce as prey, becomes ever more elusive. The foundation of the ecosystem, the grasses and trees, suffers most acutely. Wilting blades of grass release their seeds to the wind, while young acacia saplings wither before they can take root. Bare earth spreads where once there was a lush carpet of green, exposing the land to erosion and further decline. The smallest inhabitants, often overlooked, are among the first to feel the consequences. Termite mounds, once bustling with life, stand abandoned and crumbling in the dry wind. Birds return to empty nests, and butterflies flutter weakly in search of the few remaining blossoms. Encroachment from agriculture and livestock steadily erodes the boundaries of the wild. Cattle graze at the fringes, their presence marked by rising dust, while cultivated fields creep ever closer, fragmenting the once continuous grasslands. Dirt tracks carve through untouched terrain, opening new avenues for further intrusion. Fences and barriers, invisible to the human eye, become insurmountable obstacles for migrating animals. Wildebeest hesitate before barbed wire, their ancient roots abruptly severed. Giraffes gaze longingly at distant trees, while buffalo herds are forced to turn back, their migration halted by human boundaries. The imprint of humanity is etched into the landscape. Lion paw prints cross paths with tire tracks, and elephant trails end abruptly at the edge of desiccated waterholes. Cheetahs pause at the boundary of freshly ploughed fields, their territory shrinking with every season. Poaching, a silent and persistent threat, stalks the savannah's giants. Elephants move with heightened caution, their herds diminished by the relentless pursuit of ivory. Rhinos graze in the tall grass, their horns coveted and their future uncertain. Even the most vigilant lioness cannot escape the shadow of human greed. The loss of a single species reverberates through the ecosystem. Vultures scan empty plains for the remains of vanished herds, while lone wildebeest stand where thousands once gathered. Dawn breaks over silent grasslands, the absence of life a stark reminder of what has been lost. Yet hope persists in the face of adversity. Each sunrise brings the promise of renewal, as young wildebeest stand alert beside their mothers, and lion cubs play in the gentle light of dawn. The instinct to survive and adapt is woven into the very fabric of the Serengeti. Survival demands ingenuity and courage. Wildebeest plunge into swollen rivers, risking everything for the promise of green pastures. Elephant mothers shield their calves from swirling dust, while cheetah mothers pass on the skills of the hunt to their young, ensuring the next generation is prepared for the challenges ahead. When the rains finally break the drought, the transformation is immediate and profound. Acacia saplings thrust green shoots through the hardened earth, birds flock to waterholes that brim with new life, and insects swarm over blossoms that have lain dormant for months. The resurgence of life is a testament to the Serengeti's enduring strength. Lion prides feast and play, giraffes stretch for dew-laden leaves, and buffalo wallow in the cool embrace of replenished pools. Every creature, great and small, contributes to the restoration of balance. The future of the Serengeti hinges on the resilience and adaptability of its inhabitants. Wildebeest press onward beneath the setting sun, elephants traverse the horizon in silent procession, and lions keep watch from their rocky vantage points, guardians of a realm in constant flux. To witness the Serengeti is to witness a world at a crossroads, where every sunrise and storm shapes the destiny of countless species. Protecting this wild arena is a solemn responsibility, ensuring that the pulse of Africa's heartland continues to echo across the plains for generations yet unborn. As the sun dips below the endless horizon, the Serengeti undergoes a profound transformation. The last rays of daylight stretch across the plains, igniting the sky in a fleeting blaze of orange and crimson before surrendering to the encroaching dusk. The golden grasses, so vibrant in the sun, now shimmer with a silvery sheen beneath the rising moon. Shadows lengthen and the world is bathed in a tapestry of starlight and darkness, every contour softened by the cool night air. The oppressive heat of day dissipates, replaced by a gentle breeze that whispers through the acacia trees. For many inhabitants, this is the true beginning of their day, a time when the Serengeti's pulse quickens in the hush of night. In the dimness, pairs of eyes ignite like embers, some burning with predatory intent, others wide with caution. The darkness is alive with silent watchers and unseen movements. Lions, the undisputed monarchs of the savannah, shed their daytime grandeur for the cloak of stealth. Their movements become fluid and deliberate, their presence almost spectral as they melt into the night. Their tawny coats, once radiant, now merge seamlessly with the shadowed grass. Each muscle tenses in anticipation, every whisker attuned to the faintest tremor in the air as they stalk herds that slumber uneasily in the open. Each step is a masterclass in silence, padded paws pressing softly into the earth, bodies low and breath measured, the hunters communicating with subtle glances and flicks of their tails. Deep within tangled thickets, the pride's cubs remain concealed, their tiny forms watched over by vigilant lionesses. The mother's ears twitch at every sound, their senses sharpened by the responsibility of guardianship. Not far away, hyenas stir from their daytime dens, stretching and shaking off the dust of sleep. Their keen noses test the air, already searching for opportunity. Their calls, part cackle, part chorus, ripple across the plains, a sound both haunting and unmistakable. The laughter of hyenas is a signal the night's business has begun. Under the shroud of darkness, hyenas become both scavenger and hunter. They roam in loose bands, their movements unpredictable, ready to exploit any weakness or misfortune. Their jaws, among the most powerful in the animal kingdom, make quick work of bones, while their acute sense of smell guides them to the faintest scent of carrion or fresh kill. Yet not all predators rely on numbers. Some, like the leopard, are solitary phantoms, masters of stealth and patience. The leopard glides through the branches, its rosette-patterned coat dissolving into the dappled shadows. Every movement is calculated, every pause a study in anticipation. With sinewy grace it crouches in the crook of a tree, muscles coiled like springs. When the moment is right, it launches downward in a blur of motion, striking with lethal precision. Its prey, a bushbuck grazing in the gloom, or a hare frozen by fear, has no warning, no chance to escape the silent descent from above. For the grazers, the night is a gauntlet of vigilance. Wildebeest and zebra stand sentinel, their bodies tense, nostrils flaring at every unfamiliar scent. They cluster in tight formations, drawing strength from numbers. Each animal relies on the collective senses of the herd, every ear tuned to the symphony of nocturnal sounds. Unity is their shield, but the darkness is an ever-present threat, concealing the approach of silent hunters. Impalas, ever alert, freeze at the faintest snap of a twig. Their bodies are poised for flight, ready to vanish into the night at the slightest provocation. Beneath the cover of darkness, smaller creatures emerge from their burrows. The moonlight reveals a hidden world of activity, where survival depends on agility and caution. Aardvarks shuffle through the grass, their elongated snouts probing the earth for termites. Their powerful claws dig with quiet efficiency, unearthing a feast hidden beneath the soil. Spring hares bound across the open ground, their long hind legs propelling them in great leaps. Their shadows flicker and dart, vanishing at the slightest disturbance. Above, owls patrol the night sky. Their wings, fringed for silence, allow them to drift undetected as they scan for the faintest rustle of a rodent in the grass below. Even the smallest inhabitants are active. Insects crawl and leap among the blades of grass, their bodies adapted to the cool, humid air of night. Crickets and cicadas create a ceaseless chorus, their rhythmic calls weaving together to form the Serengeti's nocturnal soundtrack, a living pulse that marks the passage of time. Fireflies drift through the undergrowth, their bioluminescent signals flashing in intricate patterns. Each pulse is a message, a silent conversation in the darkness. The Serengeti at night is a realm of heightened senses, where every sound, scent, and shadow carries meaning. Here the drama of survival unfolds in silence and secrecy. From the formidable lion to the tiniest beetle, every creature is drawn into this intricate web of life, each playing a role in the delicate balance beneath the stars. In this world, the bold tread carefully, the hidden emerge, and the ancient contest between predator and prey is renewed with every heartbeat, every breath. As the first blush of dawn touches the horizon, birds begin to sing, their melodies signaling the retreat of shadows and the promise of a new day. The secrets of the night fade with the growing light, and the creatures of darkness slip away, awaiting the next cycle. In the Serengeti, the story is never truly at rest. With each sunrise, a new chapter begins, and the eternal rhythm of life continues, undisturbed and ever-changing. Across the boundless Serengeti, the pulse of existence is orchestrated by the relentless march of the seasons, each phase sculpting the fate of its wild inhabitants with unwavering precision. As the calendar turns, the plains undergo dramatic metamorphoses. Verdant expanses yield to arid stretches, and every living being must recalibrate its rhythms to survive. The arrival of the long rains is heralded by brooding thunderheads, their shadows sweeping across the cracked earth, promising relief to a landscape parched by months of relentless sun. Torrents of rain cascade over the grasslands, saturating the soil and awakening seeds that have lain dormant through the dry months, triggering a surge of new life. Within mere days, the plains are transformed into a lush mosaic, wildflowers blooming in profusion and drawing clouds of pollinators, each insect playing a vital role in the ecosystem's renewal. Vast herds of wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle disperse across the rejuvenated grasslands, their migrations finely attuned to the scent and sight of fresh growth, ensuring the survival of both grazers and the predators that follow. In synchrony with this abundance, thousands of wildebeest calves are born within a narrow window, their vulnerability offset by the sheer numbers and the rich forage that fuels rapid growth. As the rains withdraw, waterholes contract and grasses fade to brittle gold, forcing wildlife to adapt to the tightening grip of scarcity. The landscape becomes a tapestry of dust and sun-bleached grass, each patch a testament to the harshness of the dry season. Parched herds are drawn to the last remaining rivers, where crocodiles, perfectly camouflaged in the muddy water, await the unwary. Elephants, with their remarkable memory and strength, excavate deep into the riverbeds, exposing hidden reserves of water that become lifelines for countless smaller creatures. Predators recalibrate their tactics, exploiting the congregation of prey around dwindling water sources where every movement is a calculated risk. Lions and cheetahs launch coordinated hunts, while opportunists like jackals and vultures efficiently scavenge the aftermath, ensuring nothing is wasted. Avian specialists time their arrivals with precision. Abdim storks descend only when insect populations explode after rain, while secretary birds shift their hunting grounds in response to the ever-changing grass height. Every encounter, predator and prey, grazer and scavenger, is shaped by the ebb and flow of resources, each interaction a thread in the Serengeti's intricate web. In the fleeting interval between wet and dry, termite elates erupt in shimmering swarms, providing a sudden bounty for birds, bats, and aardwolves, whose survival depends on these ephemeral feasts. Reptiles, acutely attuned to thermal shifts, emerge at dawn to bask and retreat underground as the midday heat intensifies, conserving moisture and energy. As the sun climbs higher, heat haze distorts the horizon, and dust devils twist across the plains, signaling the peak of the dry season's intensity. Beneath the surface, seeds and eggs remain insulated from the extremes above, their dormancy a silent promise of future abundance when the cycle renews. The Serengeti's enduring vitality is forged in this perpetual cycle, each season a chapter in a story of adaptation, resilience, and the delicate equilibrium that sustains one of the planet's most dynamic wild realms. In the grand tapestry of the Serengeti, not every hero hunts or grazes. Some creatures have evolved to fill a crucial ecological niche: scavengers, the often overlooked custodians who keep the plains healthy and balanced. These animals thrive in the shadows, emerging when the drama of the hunt has faded and the landscape is quiet once more. Their presence is vital as they remove remains that would otherwise attract disease and disrupt the ecosystem. When predators abandon a kill, the Serengeti scavengers begin their work. This marks the start of a complex process of decomposition and nutrient recycling, orchestrated by a diverse cast of species. The spotted hyena, one of the most adaptable scavengers, moves silently through the grass, guided by an extraordinary sense of smell that can detect carrion from several kilometers away. Far from being mere opportunists, hyenas are intelligent strategists. They remember the locations of past kills and use social communication to coordinate with clan members, maximizing their chances of finding food. Hyenas possess one of the most powerful bites in the animal kingdom, allowing them to crush and digest bones that other predators leave behind. Their highly acidic stomachs can dissolve even the densest material, extracting calcium and marrow. By breaking open large bones, hyenas access nutrients locked away from other scavengers, ensuring that nothing is wasted. This ability also helps limit the spread of disease by removing decaying remains quickly and efficiently. High above, vultures scan the plains with exceptional eyesight. They can spot the glint of a carcass from altitudes of up to 6,000 meters, making them the first to arrive at many kill sites. Ruppel's griffon vultures, the highest flying birds on Earth, are especially adept at locating food from great distances. Their aerial perspective allows them to cover vast territories in search of sustenance. As soon as a carcass is found, vultures descend in a precise sequence. Lappet-faced vultures, with their powerful beaks, arrive first to tear through tough hides, followed by white-backed and hooded vultures that specialize in softer tissues. Each vulture species has a unique role, with beaks and talons adapted for specific tasks. Some rip through skin, others extract muscle, and still others clean the bones of every last scrap. In a matter of minutes, a feeding frenzy can reduce a large carcass to bare bones. This rapid consumption prevents the buildup of decaying matter, which could otherwise harbor dangerous pathogens. Jackals, smaller and more agile, exploit their size to dart between larger scavengers. They snatch overlooked morsels, ensuring that even the smallest fragments of flesh are consumed. Marabou storks, with their imposing stature and bald heads, are perfectly adapted for scavenging. Their long bills allow them to probe deep into carcasses, extracting sinew and cartilage that others cannot reach. Even the smallest scavengers play a vital part. Dung beetles collect and bury animal droppings, recycling nutrients into the soil and reducing the spread of parasites that could threaten herbivores. This intricate web of scavengers operates in harmony, each species performing a specialized function. Their interactions are shaped by competition, cooperation, and centuries of evolutionary adaptation. By swiftly removing remains, scavengers limit the spread of disease and return essential nutrients to the earth. This process fertilizes the soil, promoting the growth of grasses that sustain the next generation of herbivores. Every stage of decomposition is utilized, from flesh to bone to droppings, ensuring that no resource is left untapped. This efficiency is key to the Serengeti's resilience and productivity. As the sun sets, the scavengers melt back into the landscape, their work complete. The plains are left clean, ready for the next cycle of life and death. These animals are the Serengeti's recyclers, maintaining the delicate equilibrium that supports one of the world's richest ecosystems. Their invisible labor is fundamental to the survival of countless species. In the endless cycle of life and death, it is the scavengers who transform loss into renewal, ensuring that the Serengeti remains a vibrant, thriving wilderness for generations to come. Each year, the Serengeti transforms into a living river of life as the Great Migration unfolds, a phenomenon unrivaled in scale and drama anywhere on Earth. Driven by ancient instincts, the herds embark on a ceaseless odyssey, compelled by hunger, the search for water, and the distant promise of rain-laden clouds. Over 1 million wildebeest surge forward, joined by vast numbers of zebras and gazelles, their bodies merging into a single undulating mass that stretches to the horizon. Hooves thunder against the cracked earth, raising clouds of dust and etching winding trails that have guided generations before them. The journey begins in the southern Serengeti, where seasonal rains awaken the land, painting the plains with a vibrant carpet of fresh grass. Here, in the safety of numbers, thousands of calves are born within a matter of weeks, their first uncertain steps shadowed by the ever-present threat of lurking predators. As the weeks pass, the nourishing rains fade, waterholes recede, and the once lush grasslands wither beneath the relentless sun. Sensing the subtle shift in the wind, the herds raise their heads, nostrils flaring as they detect the scent of distant storms gathering to the northwest. The migration surges northward, navigating rocky outcrops, steep escarpments, and treacherous ravines that test the endurance of every animal. Rivers swollen by recent downpours present formidable barriers, their muddy waters churning with hidden dangers beneath the surface. Beneath the opaque currents, crocodiles lie in ambush, their patience measured in hours as they await the chaos of the crossing. The river crossings erupt in pandemonium, wildebeest leap headlong into the torrent, driven by the momentum of the herd, while zebras and gazelles hesitate, calculating every risk before plunging in. Many are swept away by the current or fall prey to waiting jaws, yet the survivors scramble up the far bank, battered but undeterred. Across the open plains, the herds flow in ever-shifting formations, their movements orchestrated by the subtle cues of leaders and the collective will of the group. Zebras, with their keen eyesight and memory, often take the lead, guiding the way to water and fresh pasture, while wildebeest rely on their acute sense of smell to follow the greenest trails. Gazelles, agile and vigilant, skirt the periphery, their sharp senses attuned to the slightest hint of danger from prowling predators. As the short rains return, dark clouds gather once more, and the herds instinctively pivot southward, retracing their steps toward rejuvenated grasslands. The Mara and western Serengeti, now grazed to stubble, are left behind, as the southern plains burst anew with tender shoots, promising sustenance for the next generation. In these fertile fields the cycle of life recommences. Newborn calves rise unsteadily on trembling legs, their survival dependent on the unity and vigilance of the herd. The migration's passage sculpts the land itself. Grazed grasses regenerate, soils are aerated by countless hooves, and predators shadow the herds, their fate intertwined with this perpetual movement. The Great Migration is more than a journey. It is the heartbeat of the Serengeti, a living testament to resilience, adaptation, and the intricate web of life that binds every creature to this wild, untamed land. Beneath the thunder of hooves and the endless march of herds, a secret world thrives, one that is rarely glimpsed, yet is fundamental to the Serengeti's survival. Here, just below the surface, a tapestry of life unfolds in miniature, each thread vital to the ecosystem's grand design. Among tangled roots and beneath scattered stones, a multitude of insects and reptiles flourish. Ants carve intricate tunnels, beetles scuttle through leaf litter, and lizards bask in fleeting shafts of sunlight, each species adapted to its own precise niche within this bustling underworld. Towering above the grasses, termite mounds stand as monuments to collective engineering. Their sun-hardened walls shield a labyrinth of passageways, where temperature and humidity are meticulously regulated by the tireless architects within. Inside these fortresses, millions of termites labor in perfect synchrony. They break down tough plant fibers, transforming dead wood and grass into nutrient-rich soil, and in doing so, they recycle the very foundation of the savannah's fertility. The mounds themselves become vital oases, their porous structure aerating the earth and providing shelter for a host of other creatures. Reptiles, birds, and even small mammals find refuge in their cool, shadowed crevices. Agile mongoose families patrol these earthen towers, their senses finely tuned to the slightest movement. They hunt for insects and small prey, while remaining ever vigilant for the sudden swoop of a raptor or the stealthy approach of a snake. On the open ground, scarab and dung beetles demonstrate remarkable ingenuity. Drawn to the scent of fresh dung, they compete fiercely for the chance to claim and shape these resources into perfectly formed spheres. With astonishing strength, dung beetles roll their prizes across uneven terrain, navigating obstacles many times their own size. Some bury their cargo for nourishment, while others create subterranean chambers where their larvae will safely develop. Each buried ball becomes a pocket of fertility, returning vital nutrients to the soil and promoting the lush growth that sustains the great grazers above. In the dappled shade of acacia trees, brilliantly hued agama lizards warm themselves on sun-baked stones. Their vibrant colors serve as both camouflage and display, signaling territory or readiness to mate. With lightning reflexes, agamas dart from their perches to snatch up ants and termites, their movements a blur against the stillness of the rocks. Each successful hunt is a testament to their finely honed senses and agility. As dusk falls, geckos emerge from their hiding places, their skin patterned to blend seamlessly with bark and stone. They move silently, their soft calls barely audible, as they hunt the night's smallest insects with precision. Concealed in the tall grasses, the African rock python glides with deliberate grace. Its muscular body and cryptic coloration allow it to remain invisible to both predator and prey. Patiently, the python waits for the perfect moment. When a rodent ventures too close, it strikes with explosive speed, securing a meal that may sustain it for weeks. Along the water's edge, dragonflies hover and dart, their iridescent wings catching the light as they hunt mosquitoes in mid-air. Nearby, butterflies drift from blossom to blossom, their delicate legs dusted with pollen as they fertilize the hardy wildflowers of the savannah. Each of these small creatures, though often overlooked, is a specialist: engineers, pollinators, hunters, and recyclers, each contributing to the Serengeti's enduring vitality. Their lives are woven into the very fabric of the plains, supporting cycles of renewal that ripple upward to sustain the vast migrations and dramatic hunts that define this land. In the quiet hours of dawn and dusk, their relentless activity continues unseen. Through their ceaseless labor, the Serengeti's smallest inhabitants ensure that life here not only survives, but flourishes, season after season, year after year. Across the golden expanse of the Serengeti, a silent drama unfolds with every sunrise. Here, the great predators and their wary prey are locked in an ancient contest where instinct, strategy, and split-second decisions determine the fate of each encounter. The grasslands ripple as a herd of impala moves cautiously, ears flicking at the faintest rustle. Every shadow could conceal danger, and every breeze carries the scent of pursuit. Hidden within the tall grasses, a lioness crouches low, her tawny coat blending seamlessly with the earth. She studies the herd intently, muscles coiled in patient anticipation. Nearby, her pride members fan out in a practiced formation, each knowing their role in the imminent chase. The wind shifts, and in an instant the spell is broken. A single impala senses the threat and bolts. The lions surge forward, their power unleashed in a blur of motion. The herd scatters in a wave of panic, each animal relying on agility and speed to evade the relentless pursuit. Only the weakest or least attentive fall behind, and the chase ends as swiftly as it began, success or failure determined by a heartbeat. On the open plain, cheetahs employ a different tactic. Sleek and built for speed, they rely on their unmatched acceleration to close the distance in a matter of seconds. The chase is a calculated risk, as every sprint demands precious energy. A young Thompson's gazelle, separated from the group, becomes the focus. With explosive force, the cheetah gives chase, weaving through the grass in pursuit. The gazelle darts and zigzags, each leap an act of desperation and skill. Sometimes the prey escapes, leaving the cheetah to rest and recover, while other times the hunt ends in a swift, decisive capture. Not all predators hunt in packs or at blinding speeds. The stealthy leopard, solitary and elusive, prefers the cover of trees and rocky outcrops. From its high vantage point, it surveys the landscape, identifying potential targets. With silent precision, it descends and glides through the undergrowth, closing in on an unsuspecting warthog. Timing is everything. A single misstep and the opportunity vanishes. When the strike comes, it is sudden and final, the leopard's strength and cunning on full display. Even the smallest hunters play their part. A secretary bird stalks through the grass, its sharp eyes scanning for snakes and rodents. With lightning-fast kicks, it subdues its quarry, demonstrating that power in the Serengeti is not measured by size alone. Meanwhile, prey species are far from passive. Wildebeest and zebras form vast herds, their numbers providing safety through confusion and vigilance. Sentinels keep watch, signaling danger with a snort or a stamp, triggering a cascade of alertness through the group. The fittest and most aware survive to see another day, passing on their hard-won wisdom to the next generation. This delicate equilibrium between hunter and hunted shapes the landscape as profoundly as the rains or the sun. Each interaction, each narrow escape or successful hunt, ripples outward, influencing populations, behaviors, and even the vegetation itself. It is a perpetual cycle, one that ensures the Serengeti remains a place of breathtaking beauty and relentless challenge, where life and death are forever intertwined in the dance of survival. Beneath the towering acacia trees and sweeping grasslands, the Serengeti's true marvels often go unnoticed. Here, hidden in plain sight, micro-ecosystems pulse with life, each one a testament to nature's ingenuity and resilience. Rising from the earth like ancient fortresses, termite mounds dot the landscape, their intricate spires sculpted by countless tiny architects. These mounds are far more than mere shelters. They are living, breathing hubs of ecological activity. Within their labyrinthine tunnels, millions of termites labor ceaselessly, engineering an environment with precisely regulated temperature and humidity. Their efforts aerate the soil, enriching it with nutrients and enhancing its ability to support grasses and shrubs. Around the base of each mound, lush vegetation flourishes, drawing grazers like impala and buffalo to feed on the nutrient-rich growth. In turn, this attracts predators, subtly influencing the distribution of wildlife across the plains. Termite mounds also serve as vital refuges for a host of other creatures. Mongoose families nest within abandoned chambers, safe from prowling predators. Pythons and monitor lizards slip silently into the tunnels, seeking shelter or hunting for prey. Even birds such as hornbills and bee-eaters nest in the softened clay, raising their young in the cool, protective walls. Beyond the mounds, miniature wetlands form in shallow depressions after the rains, creating ephemeral worlds teeming with frogs, insects, and freshwater snails. Here, dragonflies skim the surface while tiny fish dart among the reeds, their brief lives a crucial link in the food chain. Dung beetles, tireless recyclers, roll their precious cargo across the sands, breaking down waste and returning essential nutrients to the soil. Each of these micro-ecosystems, though small in scale, exerts a profound influence on the Serengeti's vast expanse. They create pockets of fertility, shelter, and opportunity, sustaining an astonishing diversity of life. Through the tireless work of its smallest inhabitants, the Serengeti is continually renewed, its foundations built not only by giants but by the smallest engineers and caretakers of the land. Above the endless horizon, the Serengeti's sky is a restless canvas, its moods shifting with the passage of sun, wind, and cloud. Here, weather is more than backdrop, it is a sculptor, carving the rhythms of life with every change in temperature, every gust of wind, and every drop of rain. The year begins beneath a dome of blue, where the dry season's relentless sun bakes the earth into a mosaic of gold and ochre. Grasses wither, rivers shrink to ribbons, and dust hangs in the air, carried by warm, persistent breezes. In these months, every living creature must adapt to scarcity. Wildebeest and zebra trek vast distances, drawn by the promise of greener pastures, while predators sharpen their strategies in the thinning cover. Then, almost as if on cue, the first storm clouds gather, rolling in from the distant highlands. Thunder rumbles across the plains, and the parched earth waits in anticipation. When the rains finally arrive, they transform the Serengeti overnight. Torrents sweep across the land, filling seasonal streams and swelling rivers. Dormant seeds awaken, and a flush of emerald spreads where only days before there was dust. This sudden abundance fuels explosive growth. Grasses surge skyward, wildflowers unfurl, and insects emerge in countless numbers, forming the foundation for a renewed burst of life. Each weather pattern is a signal, triggering migrations, breeding, and feeding behaviors finely tuned to the Serengeti's ancient cycles. Cool, misty mornings invite herds to graze, while midday heat sends them seeking shade beneath scattered trees. Afternoon storms bring relief, but also danger, as swollen rivers become barriers and lightning ignites the sky. Even the winds play their part, dispersing seeds and shaping the patterns of fire that clear old growth, making way for new. Yet the Serengeti's climate is not constant. Subtle shifts in rainfall and temperature ripple through the ecosystem, altering the balance of predator and prey, the timing of migrations, and the very composition of plant and animal communities. Prolonged droughts test the resilience of every species, while unseasonal rains can bring both bounty and challenge. Through every change, the weather remains the master conductor, orchestrating the grand performance of survival and renewal. The Serengeti's pulse is set not only by its inhabitants, but by the ever-changing forces of sky and season, a dynamic interplay that ensures this wild kingdom is never the same from one day to the next. Beneath the towering grasses and between the cracks of sun-baked earth, an unseen world thrives, a world where insects reign as the silent architects of the Serengeti. Here, the tiniest creatures wield immense influence, orchestrating processes vital for the survival of the entire ecosystem. Termites, often secretive and seldom noticed, construct elaborate mounds that rise like miniature skyscrapers from the plains. These structures are not mere homes, but complex microclimates, regulating temperature and humidity, sheltering a multitude of other species, and even enriching the soil with nutrients harvested from dead plant matter. Their tireless work transforms decaying grass into fertile ground, laying the foundation for the next generation of plant life. Elsewhere, armies of ants march in disciplined columns, cleaning the land of debris and preying on pest species. Some cultivate fungus gardens deep underground, while others form symbiotic relationships with acacia trees, defending them from hungry herbivores in exchange for shelter and nectar. Each species fills a unique niche, their combined efforts weaving an intricate web of mutual support. Beetles, from the iridescent jewel beetles to the humble dung beetles, play a pivotal role in recycling. Dung beetles, in particular, are nature's sanitation crew. Rolling and burying animal droppings, they aerate the soil and return vital nutrients to the earth. This process not only keeps the plains clean, but also enhances plant growth, supporting herbivores, and, in turn, the predators that rely on them. Pollinators abound. Vibrant butterflies, industrious bees, and camouflaged moths flit from blossom to blossom, ensuring the reproduction of countless plant species. Their delicate journeys link the fate of flowers to the fortunes of fruit and seed, their tiny bodies carrying the promise of renewal across vast distances. Even the less celebrated mosquitoes, flies, and wasps hold crucial roles. As prey, they sustain countless birds, reptiles, and amphibians. As decomposers and scavengers, they break down organic matter, hastening the return of nutrients to the soil. Through every season, from the driest months to the lush aftermath of rain, insects are the unseen pulse that keeps the Serengeti alive. Their hidden labors underpin the cycles of growth, decay, and rebirth, silently shaping the destiny of all who roam these plains. In the grand tapestry of the Serengeti, it is the smallest threads that hold the greatest strength, reminding us that true power often lies just out of sight, beneath our very feet. Across the endless grasslands of the Serengeti, a symphony unfolds, one that is not played by instruments but through calls, scents, and silent gestures. Here, communication is a matter of survival, connection, and sometimes cunning. At dawn, the low, resonant roars of lions ripple through the cool air. These powerful vocalizations carry for miles, marking territory and uniting pride members scattered by the night's hunt. Each roar holds layers of meaning, warnings to rivals, reassurance to kin, and signals of strength and status. Nearby, a herd of elephants moves quietly, but their communication is anything but silent. Deep rumbles, some too low for human ears, vibrate through the ground, reaching distant family members. These seismic messages warn of danger, summon stragglers, or coordinate migration, weaving a bond that stretches across vast distances. Wildebeest, numbering in the thousands, rely on a chorus of bleats and grunts to maintain cohesion during their epic migrations. Their calls help mothers find calves in the chaos and alert the herd to approaching predators, transforming a mass of individuals into a united, responsive force. But sound is only one thread in the Serengeti's complex tapestry of communication. Scent marks the landscape in invisible trails. A solitary leopard rubs its cheeks against a tree, leaving behind pheromones that announce its presence and reproductive state. Hyenas deposit pungent paste from their anal glands onto grass stalks, creating a chemical bulletin board that relays clan identity and territorial boundaries. Zebras, ever vigilant, rely on subtle cues, flicks of the tail, pricked ears, and the angle of a head to coordinate movement and detect threats. A sudden freeze, a collective stare, and the herd is instantly on alert, ready to flee at the slightest sign of danger. Giraffes engage in a quiet ballet, their necks weaving and intertwining in gentle, necking displays. These slow-motion contests determine dominance without a sound, while their posture and stance communicate intent to rivals and potential mates. Birdsong fills the air, each species with its own unique phrases. From the melodious trills of larks to the harsh cries of hornbills, these calls declare territory, attract mates, and warn of predators overhead. Even the smallest creatures exchange messages. Dwarf mongooses chirp and chatter, coordinating foraging and posting sentinels. Vervet monkeys emit distinct alarm calls for eagles, snakes, or leopards, each triggering a tailored response from the troop. Through every hour, in every corner, the Serengeti pulses with unspoken dialogue. Body language, scent, and sound intertwine, forging connections that bind the lives of predator and prey, parent and offspring, rival and ally. In this world without words, every gesture, every call, every trace left on wind or earth is a testament to the remarkable intelligence and adaptability of the Serengeti's wild inhabitants. As the relentless sun climbs higher over the Serengeti, the land enters one of its most formidable trials: drought. With each passing day, the rivers recede, their muddy banks widening as life-giving water shrinks to isolated pools. Grasses, once lush and swaying, wither into brittle straw, painting the plains in shades of gold and grey. The air shimmers with heat, and the promise of rain seems like a distant memory. For the wildlife, every drop matters. Elephants, the great architects of survival, dig deep into dry riverbeds with their tusks and trunks, unearthing hidden reserves of moisture. Their excavations become vital oases, drawing zebra, wildebeest, and warthog to these fleeting wells. Yet, these gatherings concentrate risk. Predators linger nearby, knowing desperation makes even the vigilant less cautious. Herds fragment as waterholes disappear. Wildebeest and buffalo trek farther each day, their hooves raising clouds of dust that hang heavy in the still air. Calves and weak individuals struggle to keep pace, and the journey claims many before relief is found. Crocodiles lie in the shrinking pools, growing more aggressive as their domain contracts, while hippos jostle for space, their tempers flaring under the strain of overcrowding. Birds abandon desiccated marshes, following invisible highways to distant, wetter refuges. Even the resilient scavengers, hyenas and vultures, find their fortunes altered as death comes swifter and more frequently. But the risk of disease rises with every carcass left to rot in the heat. Termites retreat deep underground, sealing their mounds to conserve precious humidity. Small mammals emerge only at dusk, foraging in the relative cool, their survival balanced on a knife's edge. Reptiles and amphibians burrow or find shelter beneath rocks, slowing their metabolism to endure the parched weeks. The drought spares none. Trees drop their leaves in a desperate bid to conserve moisture, and acacias arm themselves with extra thorns, deterring hungry browsers. Even the mighty baobab, with its water-storing trunk, shows signs of stress, its bark cracked and peeling. Yet, beneath the surface, life waits. Seeds lie dormant in the dust, patient for the first hint of rain. Invisible to the eye, the roots of the Serengeti's grasses cling to survival, ready to surge back when the sky finally breaks. Drought sculpts the rhythm of the plains, testing every creature's resilience and adaptability. It is a harsh reminder that in the Serengeti, survival is never guaranteed. Here, the struggle for water is both an ancient challenge and a powerful force, shaping the destinies of all who call these wild plains home. Beneath the grandeur of prowling lions and thundering herds lies a quieter yet essential force, the vast tapestry of plants and grasses that underpins the Serengeti's entire food web. Here the humble blades of red oakgrass and the wiry stems of stargrass form the bedrock of life, transforming sunlight, water and minerals into nourishment for millions. Each species of grass plays a distinct role. Some, like the tough speargrass, withstand trampling hooves and seasonal fires, while others, such as the succulent couchgrass, offer vital moisture and nutrients at the height of the dry season. Acacias, with their umbrella-shaped crowns, dot the plains, providing precious shade and food for giraffes and antelope. Their leaves, rich in protein, are fiercely defended by thorns and symbiotic ants, a testament to the relentless contest between plant and herbivore. Towering termite mounds nurture microhabitats where rare grasses flourish, their roots binding the soil against erosion when the rains arrive. Even the lowly sedge, thriving in marshy fringes, supports a hidden world of insects and amphibians. The Serengeti's annual migration is orchestrated by the cycles of these grasses. Wildebeest and zebras synchronize their movements to the green flush that follows the rains, grazing in waves that stimulate new growth and prevent overgrazing. In their wake, gazelles and smaller browsers feed on tender shoots, while dung beetles and decomposers recycle nutrients, ensuring the fertility of the plains. As the seasons shift, plants deploy ingenious strategies to survive. Some grasses develop deep root systems, tapping underground reserves during drought, while others scatter seeds that remain dormant until the next rainfall. Shrubs like the whistling thorn arm themselves with swollen spines, harboring biting ants that ward off hungry mouths. Wildflowers bloom briefly after showers, drawing pollinators and adding bursts of color to the golden sea. Beyond sustenance, plants shape the very landscape, their roots anchoring the soil, their fallen leaves enriching it, and their presence guiding the distribution of animal life. Without this silent green foundation, the Serengeti's dramatic spectacles would falter. Every predator's chase, every birth and migration, is ultimately rooted in the quiet persistence of plants, nature's original architects, weaving the intricate web that sustains the wild heart of Africa. Across the Serengeti, survival hinges on the ability to adapt. Here, every species is a master of endurance, shaped by relentless heat, sudden storms, and unforgiving drought. The wildebeest icons of resilience possess specialized hooves that widen with each step, distributing their weight and allowing them to traverse both muddy floodplains and cracked, arid earth. Their bodies store water efficiently, and their migratory instincts are tuned to the subtlest changes in wind and scent, guiding them to distant rains before the land dries to dust. Lions, cloaked in tawny camouflage, adjust their hunting strategies with the seasons, stalking in open grass during the dry months and using thicker cover as the rains return. When prey becomes scarce, they conserve energy, sleeping for up to 20 hours a day, while their digestive systems extract every possible nutrient from each hard-won meal. In the midday heat, Thomson's gazelles reduce their activity, sheltering in the shadow of scattered shrubs. Their pale coats reflect sunlight, and their nasal passages cool blood flowing to the brain, fending off heat stroke. Elephants, with their vast ears, pump blood through a network of veins, releasing excess heat as they fan themselves. The African rock python, a silent predator, endures long periods without food by slowing its metabolism to a crawl. When opportunity strikes, it swallows prey whole, sustaining itself for weeks as it digests in the shelter of a burrow or beneath dense foliage. Even the tiniest inhabitants are masters of survival. Dung beetles time their breeding to coincide with the arrival of migrating herds, ensuring a steady supply of nourishment for their young. Termites retreat deep within their mounds, where the temperature remains constant, regardless of the searing sun or chilling winds outside. Plant life, too, displays remarkable ingenuity. The baobab tree stores thousands of liters of water within its swollen trunk, while resurrection grasses appear lifeless until the first drops of rain trigger a rapid return to green vitality. Acacias secrete bitter chemicals into their leaves when grazed, deterring further feeding until conditions improve. In the Serengeti, adaptation is not a single act but an ongoing dance, a balance of risk and reward, driven by the ever-changing extremes of the land. Each species, from the fleet-footed cheetah to the armored pangolin, is a living testament to nature's inventiveness. Their survival is a story written in every muscle, feather, and root, a story of persistence, flexibility, and the quiet genius of evolution. As dusk surrenders to darkness, the Serengeti transforms into a shadowed theatre where new actors emerge. The night belongs to a different kind of hunter, creatures whose senses pierce the gloom and whose tactics are honed by the cover of night. In the cooling air, spotted hyenas slink from their dens, their laughter echoing across the plains. Their powerful jaws and bone-crushing bite allow them to tackle prey larger than themselves, but under the stars, hyenas become more than scavengers. Working in coordinated clans, they encircle herds, communicating with ghostly whoops and low growls. Patient and calculating, they test for weakness, exploiting a moment's hesitation to bring down a straggler with relentless teamwork. Elsewhere, the leopard, silent and solitary, prowls beneath the tangled canopies of acacia trees. Its rosette-marked coat blends seamlessly with moon-dappled shadows, granting it near invisibility. With eyes adapted to low light, the leopard scans for movement, its padded paws gliding noiselessly across the earth. When prey is spotted, it strikes with explosive speed, ending the chase in a single leap. The kill is hoisted high into the branches, safely out of reach from other predators, to be consumed in peace. A silent drama unfolds in the grass as the serval, long-legged and lithe, listens intently. Oversized ears rotate like radar dishes, detecting the faintest rustle of a rodent tunneling below. With a sudden leap, sometimes 2 meters high, the serval pounces, pinning its quarry before it can escape into the labyrinth of burrows. Not all nocturnal hunters rely on brute force. The African civet, a masked marauder, forages under cover of darkness, its sensitive nose guiding it to beetles, eggs, and fallen fruit. It navigates the undergrowth with agility, leaving behind only faint paw prints and the musky scent of its territory. In the open, the black-backed jackal moves with calculated stealth. Its strategy is one of opportunity, shadowing lions or hyenas waiting for scraps, or darting in to snatch a distracted rodent. Adaptable and cunning, the jackal's methods shift with the shifting moonlight. Above, the Varro's eagle owl glides on silent wings, its enormous eyes reflecting starlight. With a sudden swoop, it snatches a hare from the grass, talons closing with precision. Its call, a deep, resonant hoot, marks its territory in the darkness. Together, these nocturnal predators shape the Serengeti's after-hours ecology. Each employs a unique strategy, from the brute coordination of hyenas to the solitary stealth of leopards and the keen senses of smaller hunters. In the inky blackness, survival depends on silence, patience, and the mastery of the unseen. As dawn approaches, the night's hunters retreat, leaving only the faintest traces of their passage until the shadows return and the hunt begins anew. Across the vast expanse of the Serengeti, water is life. In a landscape defined by long dry spells and sudden rains, rivers and waterholes serve as the beating heart of the ecosystem. The Grumeti and Mara rivers snake through the plains, their winding courses sustaining a mosaic of life that depends on their flow. During the heat of the day, herds of zebras and wildebeest gather along the muddy banks, their hooves stirring clouds of dust as they jostle for a clear sip. Elephants, ancient and wise, approach with deliberate caution, their trunks unfurling to draw up gallons of cool refreshment, then spraying themselves to ward off the relentless sun. At dawn, the water's edge is a tapestry of activity. Giraffes splay their legs wide, necks dipping awkwardly to reach the surface, while warthogs kneel to slurp from shallow pools. Even the reclusive bushbuck emerges from the thickets, drawn by the promise of hydration. In the shallows, crocodiles lie in wait, their eyes and nostrils barely breaking the surface, patient for hours on end. Occasionally, a single splash betrays the fate of an unwary antelope, a reminder that every visit to the water's edge carries risk. For birds, these aquatic havens are both dining room and sanctuary. Flocks of crowned cranes and storks wade through the reeds, probing for frogs and fish. Kingfishers dart from overhanging branches, plunging with precision to seize a silvery meal. At dusk, clouds of quellius descend in a synchronized whirl, their wings fluttering like rainfall as they drink in hurried bursts before the darkness returns. In the dry season, waterholes shrink to muddy oases, their margins thick with tracks of every shape and size. Buffalo wallow in the sticky shallows, coating themselves in protective layers of mud, while baboons comb the banks for edible roots and insects. The competition intensifies as resources dwindle. Predators and prey must share the same narrow ribbon of survival. Tension hangs in the air, each animal acutely aware of the dangers lurking nearby. Beyond quenching thirst, these lifelines shape the destiny of the Serengeti's inhabitants. The timing of migrations, the territories of predators, and the growth of vegetation all hinge on the presence of water. Even after the rains, when temporary pools dot the plains, the promise of abundance is fleeting. As the sun dries the land, animals are drawn inexorably back to the rivers, a cycle as old as the plains themselves. In these liquid corridors, the story of the Serengeti is written anew each day. Every ripple, every footprint is a testament to the vital connection between water and life in this untamed wilderness.